Follow New Vegas is notorious for having several cowboy themes, so today we'll be answering the question, can you beat Follow New Vegas as a cowboy? Now, before we get started, I do want to say that there are two other people that have tried this challenge before. One of them used mods that heavily altered the game, while the other one used some that didn't really change that too much about it. So, in this video, I will not be using any mods, and I slightly changed the rules in their challenge run. Instead of using weapons affected by the cowboy perk, I'll be using weapons that cowboys would actually use. Number 1, I cannot use dynamite or explosives since cowboys did not use these weapons. I can also use single barrel shotguns, double barrel, pump action, and lever action, since these are shotguns that cowboys actually use. I'm also allowed to use any type of knife, revolver, and lever action rifle. I must also wear clothing that are similar or close to what a cowboy would wear. But there is one exception to this, but I'll get to that later. And the other rules consist of I can't use any companions and I'll be playing on very hard. So, let's begin. First, I get shot in the head. That's a weird looking revolver, man.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
I could look down the barrel of that. How neat. Where'd he get? After waking up from eating a bullet, I saw God for the first time. I named myself Smith West and tried my best to make myself look like a cowboy to the best of my abilities. I then went and allegored some of my special stats, and to be real with you, I had no idea what to put any of my stats into, so I just looked up a gun build. I then answered Doc Mitchell's questions, and for skills I picked guns, lockpicking, and melee. For my traits I chose skilled and wild wasteland. I then proceeded to steal everything in Doc Mitchell's house that was not nailed down. I then waddled my way to chests, selling almost everything I had, and bought a .357 Magnum. I was pondering, thinking if I should allow myself to use the leather armor I got from one of the DLC packs from Doc Mitchell's house, but I decided against it. I then proceeded to go do something that most Follow New Vegas players never do, and that's craft ammo at a workbench. I mentioned this because I used it a couple times during the run and it helped out greatly. I then start going around Good Springs to strategically transfer equipment to an alternate location, aka steal. I found a single barrel shotgun in one of the homes and a knife. I then go talk to Sunny Smiles and forget to skip the tutorial. I forgot that you need to go behind the saloon and actually shoot the bottles before you can skip the tutorial. I thought just not talking to her would have skipped it. I don't know why. I then proceed to go get the Suave Gambler's hat to go with my cowboy drip. I go get a shovel by the Good Springs well, run into a coyote and use it as target practice. I then go to the graveyard to do some grave robbing, but more importantly, get Benny's cigarette butts and the snow globe. I then make my way to go get Chance's knife. As I do, I leave Good Springs and rebuild my character to take the skill perk again to get extra skill points. Now going this way I would have to deal with the cazadors, but lucky for me, Victor came to my rescue and distracted them, allowing me to get Chance's knife. I then head to Prim, not only because it's nearby and it can give me some good XP, but also, let's just say there's something lucky there. I then take a detour and go into a cave and wipe out an entire bloodline of coyotes. Took his head clean off. Oh, look at the cute little puppy! Die, creature! I then find myself a Brahmin skin suit on one of the dead bodies in there that looks close enough to something a cowboy would wear. I then get my first level up and put my points into lock picking and the rest into guns, and choosing the rapid reload perk. I went and found an abandoned trailer to sleep in, and as I woke up, I got greeted by Malcolm Holmes, who says he's been stalking me ever since I found a bottle cap of a blue star in one of the houses in Good Springs. I then do what any reasonable person would do after he found out someone's been stalking you and also watching you while you slept. Huh, good to know. I then help Barnes save his wife from geckos. After killing all the geckos, I then kill him for lying to me and also betraying me. Make my way to Prim and get myself a new sheriff's outfit. I then go speak with John Nash to deal with the situation in Prim, and then proceed to steal everything in the casino while no one was the wiser. I made my way to the Bison Steed Hotel, and for the first time ever in New Vegas, I put poison on a melee weapon. I then deal with the convicts and find myself a hard lock safe with a fun toy inside. But sadly, I don't have the lockpicking skills to open it, so we'll come back to this later. I then clear out the rest of the convicts and then proceed to free Deputy Beagle and also do some more exploring of the hotel. I then went back to the casino, talked to Deputy Beagle, and talked to him about putting a new sheriff in town. I decided to choose a guy at the NCR Correctional Facility as sheriff. I make my way there, get inside, and find the man I'm looking for, Mayers, and he said he will only be sheriff if he gets a pardon from the NCR. I make my way to the Mojave Outpost, running into some trouble along the way. I also want to tell you why I allow myself to use any lever-action rifle and revolvers. The reason for this is originally I wanted to be a die-hard cowboy run where I would only use weapons that they would realistically use. But after doing some research, I found out that all the lever-action rifles and revolvers I could not use since they all use calibers that did not exist during that time. So instead of being a cowboy playthrough, it would have been can you beat Fallen New Vegas while only using certain shotguns and a knife. And also, for any of those wondering, I can't use the Caravan shotgun even though it is a double barrel. They did not use those types of double barrels in the Old West. I then make my way into the Mojave Outpost, speak to Major Knight and get a pardon for Mayers. I then accept a quest from Ranger Jackson to deal with the ants, and from Ranger Ghost to check out Nipton. I go back to Prim to speak to the newly appointed sheriff, and completing the quest, My Kind of Town. I then proceed to get a level up, putting most of my points into melee and lockpicking, and then taking the comprehension perk. This then allows me to go back to that hard lock safe, read a magazine, and get the unique 357 Magnum, also known as Lucky. And may I just say, I love how this pistol looks. I then went back to Good Springs, brought some law and justice to some bottles, proceeded to do the Ghost Town gunfight quest. I got everybody to help me in the town, including Easy Pete. The attack goes without a hitch and Ringo actually survives, because on my first playthrough, he didn't. I then went and exterminated an entire ant family on the highway, reported back to Ranger Jackson on the dead ants, and made my way to Nipton. I make my way into Nipton, and right before I can bring some wasteland justice to Oliver Swanick, I'm then interrupted by Thomas, as he starts yapping about how a woman tried to kill him for a special bottle caps.
Who are you?
I give no two donkeys of a care in the world on what he's talking about, and proceed to business. Bye-bye! I then proceed to look at the Christmas decorations. I then speak to Vopez, who tells me to tell everybody else about the Christmas spirit around the town. I then do some exploring around Nipton, exploring some of the houses, kill some bark scorpions that gave me a level up, and I chose the shotgun sergeant perk. I then go try to take a shortcut to go get a new weapon for my adventure, and well, I'm gonna kill you and then I'm gonna kill your entire family. Ow! Oh. Got into some big corners, I could not let this stand, so I abused geometry and killed every single last one of them. Oh, how could you get out of your head? Making my way to the radiated shack with a prize inside, I realize that I'm gravely underpowered for this area. I cannot use stealth to my advantage because for some reason these ghouls can see through walls. After dying 3 times, I decide to give up and come back later. I then ambush some Viper ambushers. I make my way into Novak and go trade with Cliff and bought some ammo and a mod for the Cowboy Repeater, which is absolutely useless because around the time when I get the Cowboy Repeater, it is obsolete to Lucky. I then go talk to Manny Vargas and accept a quest come fly with me. Making my way to the Retcon test facility, there was a lack of ghouls guarding the way for some reason. Making my way inside the building, I talk to a man on the intercom.
Who the heck are you?
I do not listen to him and do some exploring and find myself a new weapon to add to my arsenal, the hunting revolver. I then proceed to do some more looting and then make my way to the man on the intercom. Points me to go speak to their leader, Jason Bright, who particularly yaps about him and his flock going to a place called the Great Beyond. Now, honestly, I do not care, I am just here for the XP, so I help him out. First, I need to clear out the basement of all the demons, aka the Nightkin. I speak to their leader, Davison, and he agrees to leave if I help him find the shipment of stealth boys him and his Nightkin are looking for. I then go to the nearby room to find the stealth boy shipment and find them being guarded by Harland. I assassinate him because I do not care about finding his dead lover. I then proceed to die to one of his traps. I then assassinate him again, find out that there is no stealth boy shipment here. I then tell Davison the news and he and the knight can all leave. I report back to Jason Bright and now we begin step 2 of the plan. Step 2 requires me to get some igniting agency and a thrust control module. I go back to Novak and trade with Cliff to get myself a cowboy repeater. I then go yoink the igniting agent off a dead body. Then go to old lady Gibson to go get the thrust control module. I thought about executing her, primarily because I can get the thrust control module for free, and she also has a unique double barrel shotgun. But I could not bring myself to do it. I then return the control modules to chairs. Now with everything complete, I go launch the rockets and complete the quest. I then go accept Boone's quest to find whoever sold his wife into slavery. I then go lockpick the safe behind the counter and find out that Jeannie Mae was the one who sold his wife into slavery. I went to go talk to her and told her to meet me out front at the big dinosaur. On my way there, I found an immovable tumbleweed. It is immovable. Wait. Yep, it's immovable. That's one sturdy tumbleweed. I then meet her there, put on the beret, and putting her into an early retirement. I then show Boone the bill of sales, completing the quest and giving myself a nice chunk of XP. On my way to Boulder City, I run into another cowboy. I then acquire his unique 44 Magnum, the mysterious Magnum. This is not good. I then take his guitar because I think it's neat. I try on his clothes to see if I prefer him over the sheriff's outfit, but decide I like the sheriff's outfit a little bit more. I make my way into Boulder City to help the NCR and Great Khan situation. I convince Jessup to let the hostages go, and promise that nothing bad will happen to them. He then proceeds to give me Benny's liner, and then I get a level up. I then took the cowboy perk that increases the damage of the combat knife, lever action rifles, and revolvers. I then make sure the NCR uphold their end of the deal. I then pass by the 188 trading post. I then do some trading and get stopped by an NCR ranger who gives me a radio, which I will never use. I then buy an increased cylinder for the hunting revolver, which I never use because it can't be used on this hunting revolver. It has to be one with GNR attached to it. After wasting my money on something completely useless, I make my way to Camp McCarran and talk to the major there and accept some bounties. I decide to do this because it sounds very in line to what a cowboy would actually do taking bounty missions. I go take out some important Fiend members, the first of which is Cook Cook. I use my newly acquired hunting revolver to kill his favorite Brahmin, Queen, which sends him into a frenzy, making him attack his own men. I then join in, dealing with all the members, including Cook Cook. After the fight, I found myself a new weapon, the lever action shotgun. I went back to the 188 trading post to do some trading, and Follow New Vegas was being, well, Follow New Vegas. What? Yeah, this is something that definitely happened. This is definitely going in the record books of top 10 Fallout New Vegas being Fallout New Vegas. Well, that's, interesting. Next on the list of bounties is Violet and her dogs, that she definitely does not feed human meat to. I then deal with Driver Nafai and get some use out of the hunting revolver some more. I then go return the final bounty and getting myself some caps and XP. I then make my way to the New Vegas Medical Clinic to get myself the luck implant for some fun activities later. I then make my way into Freeside and go to the Atomic Wrangler to do some gambling. I keep on gambling until I get kicked out of the casino. I then make my way back to Prim. I'll tell you why I came back later. I then go inside the casino and deal with the thugs, which gives me a level up, and I took the finesse perk, which acts as a 5 points of luck to my criticals. I then go and make my way into New Vegas, and decide to go talk to Mr. House. But before I do, I took literally everything that was not nailed down. Why did I come to chat with Mr. House? I don't know, because I wanted to. I then return some snow globes to get a fine chunk of cash. I then make my way to the tops and speak to Swank, showing him the cigarettes and the lighter, and convincing him to allow me to deal with his boss. Not knowing how to send Benny to his room, I decide to confront him instead. I convince him to speak with me in the presidential suite. I then take the crap. I take the shot and then grab the platinum chip. Sorry, man. I proceed to do some more gambling. After being banned from all the casinos, I make my way to the gun runners to buy myself the medicine stick, which I absolutely love after doing this run. Okay, now look at the sights on the cowboy repeater. What is this? Why is there a giant, like, I don't know, like, pan, tiny little pan there? Why? Well, for this, it's a nice little circle. See, keep it simple, stupid. Okay, you don't need to make it convoluted. I then make my way to the New Vegas clinic and the endurance and subdermal implants. I go speak with Ambassador Crockett and agree to help him recruit the boomers. I decided to go with the NCR this run. After some hard thinking, I decided to go with them, since that's what a cowboy would side with. Or at least I think so at the very least. Making my way to the boomers, I speak to George and decided to do a bet with him. Leroy Jenkins! Woo! Okay, I better not do that. I don't want to break the mic. Oh, Lord. Takes trusty sip from Vault 13 canteen. Sweet Lord, I'm about to die. I make my way through the artillery, unscathed with a few broken bones.
Hold it right there. Don't you... How the hell did you survive that bombardment?
I didn't run through all that artillery to hear your stupid questions.
Are you...
I then speak to Pearl and agree to help the boomers. I then go heal all the ones in the clinic first, listen to Pete yap about their history. I went and cleared out their ant infestation. I thought I was supposed to be a cowboy, not an exterminator. Now all that leaves is the solar panels, which I sadly can't fix because I don't have a high enough repair skill. So that means I need to go to Helios 1 and get some new solar panels. But first I go hit up George and get my money. Making my way to Helios 1, I decide to do the quest here for some experience, since I'm already here. Connect the terminals to the tower and make my way inside and get brutally murdered by the robots. Be more cautious on my second time, I make my way up with no trouble. I decide to reroute the power everywhere since I'm a nice guy, and saw God for the second time. I'm gonna stare right at him, is that a good idea? Oh! My eyes! Oh no! I've seen Jesus for the 7th time now! Ah! I returned and then fixed the solar panels. I report back to Loyal, which gave me a level up. I got guns to 100 and chose one of the most broken perks in the game. That being, and stay back. What it does is when you shoot someone with a shotgun, they have a chance to fall over. This is broken. And proceed to raise the bomber out of the lake. And as I did, I wonder if you could get on top of it. And apparently, you can. I guess this is the closest thing I have to riding a horse. Now completing the Boomer's quest, I report back to Pearl and she agrees to help the NCR at the Battle of Hoover Dam. I go back to speak with Crocker and he wants me to deal with the trouble with the Kings and Freeside. To be honest with you, I do not want to do the entire King's quest line. So I went to the Followers of the Apocalypse, rummaged through their files, saw that Pacer had a heart condition, went back, spiked his jet, giving him a heart attack, and ending the trouble in Freeside. Bro just went limp. Shh. Go to sleep, my child. I report back to Crocker, who tells me to go to Hoover Dam and report to Colonel Moore. I talk with her and she asks me to go deal with the Great Khans. And not to kill all the Great Khans, to convince Papa Khan not to align himself with the Legion, but he's too angry at the NCR not to. He just stops me, Me and him talked and he agreed that he would help the NCR if he was leader. I report back to Colonel Moore and tell her about the situation, and she agrees to assassinate Papa Khan and put Regis in charge. I go along with this, sneaking and breaking into Papa Khan's bedroom, sending him into a permanent night-night. It is done. Regis in charge, the Khans will help the NCR. Now the Colonel wants me to go deal with the situation with the Gamoras. I try to speak with Kachino, but he's not interested at all with talking to me. I then go to his bedroom and steal his diary and using it as blackmail. He tells me that the Gamoras have been stockpiling guns to take over the strip, so I ask where they are at and he tells me to go speak with Troik. Through speech checks, I convinced him to tell me about the guns and also convinced him to destroy them. For some reason, I lie to him saying that the NCR will arrest him for his crimes. I don't know why this is considered a lie because I feel like I should actually be able to do that. I go talk with Kachino again and all we need to do now is deal with the bosses. Luckily for me, they want to see me. Hooray! Me and Kachino make our way there. He gives me a double-barrel shotgun, another weapon to the arsenal. Spoilers, I will never use it again after this encounter. We have a chat and they said that they're now going to kill me. And then my character proceeds to slowly get out of a chair as he's getting shot in the chest and dies. Take 2, instead of sitting down on the couch, I put a 12 gauge in his cranium. Dealing with the bosses, I completed everything I needed to do here. Instead of going back to Colonel Moore, I went back to Camp McCarran to go inside and talk to Colonel James. And because I have a high enough reputation with the NCR, he gives me a key for the Ranger's safe house. I make my way to the safe house, and inside I get a wonder of goodies. Importantly, a trail carbine. The main thing I came here for was the Ranger combat armor. This is the other piece of clothing I said I was allowing myself to wear. I know this is nothing a real cowboy wore, but counter-argument, they're worn by the Desert Rangers, which are based off of the real-world Texas Rangers, so I think that's fair enough. Which I'm glad I got this armor because later on in the run would be an absolute nightmare. I want you to do the same run with the sheriff's outfit on very hard, and then we'll talk. Make my way back to Dam and speak to the colonel, and she now asks me to deal with Mr. House. I then proceed to waste my time going to H&H Tool Factory to go get the Lucky 38 VIP key, which later on I found out that I did not need because the platinum chip could help me get inside. On my way inside, I drop off any snow globes, try to finish Mr. House in a cool way, and fail miserably. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. House, but today, finally. What? Seriously, man, you ruined my whole skit. You already know where this is going. I make my way back to Hoover Dam to Colonel Moore, then tells me to go take out the Brotherhood Steel. Challenge accepted. Right outside the Boomer's base, I got the Brotherhood Steel keycard from a dead Brotherhood Paladin. Now, instead of going to the Brotherhood Steel bunker, I decided to go repay those ghouls a visit. Everything was going to plan until a whole squad of them started chasing after me. Luckily for me, those bighorns that killed me before helped me take out the ghouls. I repay them by killing them and taking their meat. I then make my way back to the cabin, dealing with any stragglers, and die like an absolute buffoon. On my second try, I actually managed to kill the ghouls. Making my way inside, I got my new weapon, the hunting shotgun. I attached the choke mod on it, which decreases spread, which I bought from one of the vendors at some point. Now with this newfound firepower, I make my way to the Brotherhood Steel bunker. I run into some Samaritans that agree to be target practice. Make my way inside the Brotherhood Steel bunker, and to keep a long story short, this was painful. I did what any normal person would do in a home invasion and sit in the corner with a 12 gauge shotgun. On my way inside, I die repeatedly, and to be frank with you, it felt like every weapon I was using besides the medicine stick and 12 gauge shotgun did nothing to their power on me. The laser turrets felt like no matter what I shot them with, it only tickled them. Luckily for me, I used pulse shells on them, which seemed like they do more damage to them. 2 times I had to leave. First I had to go get some more ammo and repair my armor, and the second time to get more medical supplies. After clearing the first floor and leaving bodies everywhere in the front entrance, and a little charred, don't ask why, I go stop a class in session, and the teacher takes 12 gauge to the back of the head and keeps on writing on the chalkboard. Respect. Making my way into lower levels, I deal with all the power armor users, including the head paladin, but I got overwhelmed and had to retreat to the first floor. Picked them off one by one, including the elf. Making my way back down and finishing any survivors, and then assassinated the final member, Head Scribe Taggart. I grabbed the final keycard and set the base to self-destruct. Now that was really difficult. Yes, anyone who's played Fallout New Vegas, I could have easily gained their trust, steal all of their keycards, and then set the base to self-destruct. Yes, it would have been way easier, but it's also the more boring option. And I wanted a challenge. Yes, I got what I wished for. And if you think I'm a horrible person just because I decided to genocide a bunch of people, remember this.
Good soldiers follow orders.
I then go returning the quest. I have to help the NCR to make sure that their president does not get assassinated while he does his speech. As I was looking around and talking to people to make sure the area is secure, I then talked to this one rude NCR soldier.
If you have to ask, you're not authorized.
I did not ask, I wanted to go up there, I said who is authorized. I do the quest as anyone else would do. I go to the tower and deal with the assassin. As I do, I failed the quest because the president died due to the second assassin pulling out his knife and running up to him and killing him. Don't ask me how a guy can pull out a knife around a bunch of soldiers, run up to the president, protected by 4 highly elite bodyguards, and not do anything. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to protect the president, but for some reason Fallout New Vegas decided to glitch out and they just did nothing. I decided to reload a save and try again. I was thinking of not doing it, but I decided to anyway. I went back up the tower, killed the assassin, and I then called it in, which was a mistake. Because I was planning on dealing with the second assassin, because I called in the first one, they evacuate the president, which causes the second one to run away and detonate a bomb on the vertibird, killing the president. Oh, third time's a charm. I decided to take the detonator off the engineer, give it to Ranger Grant so the president can be evacuated. I go try to deal with the first one on the tower, but as I do, I pull out my gun because I see that he's about to shoot the president. For some reason, because I pulled out my gun, all the NCR soldiers around me all get hostile and kill me. I don't know why they got hostile and started shooting at me. From what I've learned, they're only supposed to do that if you don't have a good reputation with them, which I do. For the final time, I took the detonator, killed the assassin, reported in, get the president evacuated, and because the engineer doesn't have his detonator, the vertibird doesn't go kaboom, finishing the quest. That was way much trouble than it needed to be. Now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, the battle for Hoover Dam. First I helped Mike try to close the water pipe so the Legion can't get in, but as I did, I could not find for the life of me where I need to go and just wasted a bunch of time and resources. And may I just say, getting through the dam was a challenge. Not only because the Legion could absorb several of my shots, but also because for some reason, bats just did not want to work, and it heavily frustrated me. After painfully trying to get out of the dam, I make my way to the top, get greeted by the Great Khans who assist me in making my way through the dam. And honestly, it's easy peasy until I get to the part where the Rangers back me up and the game crashes. For some reason, my Xbox One X can't run a 14-year-old game. I don't know what's about Hoover Dam, but this is the most time I've crashed in this run. Then make it to the Legate's camp, take out the 2 guards, the game immediately crashes. Trying that again, I deal with the guards again. Had a struggle fight with the Praetorians. After playing Ring Around the Rosie with them, I finally make it to the Legate. And let's just say, I could not beat him. I attempted it 3 tries, took every chem and medical supplies I had at my disposal, and I could not beat him. Mostly because the Legate calls him backup and I get overwhelmed from the amount of legionnaires I have to take out. I know you can convince them to duel you one-on-one, but I had no idea how to do that. Later on, I realized I needed an 80 in speech. Funny thing is that I leveled up twice, and I could probably gotten it close to 60 and took a skill magazine. But I did not know this information, so I went back right before I started the Battle of Hoover Dam and went to go get some medical supplies and ammunition. I then waited for the vendors to restock, and then I went to Prim to do some gambling. Once you complete the main quest for Prim, after a couple days, when you go back to the casino and deal with the thugs, and wait a couple more days, the casino will reopen. Making my way down into the Hoover Dam, I remember I can talk to the armorer down there because I have a high enough reputation with the NCR, and he sells a lot of ammunition. I checked to see how much ammunition he had for the 4570 rounds, and he had 452 rounds, which got me 100 plus bullets for the medicine stick. With a newfound confidence, I take on the Battle of Hoover Dam for the second time. Starting the battle, I do not waste my time going to try and stop the Legion from getting in from the pipes and just make my way towards the surface. Dying a couple of times to VATS glitching out, but besides that, I made it through there just fine. Making my way up top, the game crashes 2 times practically in a row, and at this point I was getting sick of it. I then let my Xbox pull off so the game would stop having a hissy fit every 10 minutes. I made it to the Legion camp, died to the Praetorians. Second time we play Ring Around the Rosie, but with a shotgun. Before facing the Legate, I take everything under the A tab that could give me an advantage. I then speak to the Legate, and the battle is on. Cue montage. And on the first try, I take out the Legate. And it's all in thanks to the medicine stick and 12 gauge shotgun. If I didn't have these, I don't know what I would have done. Then get my reward for winning the battle. Make my way over to General Oliver. See God for the 3rd time this run. Stand there and wait for General Oliver to slowly walk towards me. Finishing the game and proving, yes, you can beat Fallout New Vegas as a cowboy. For my thoughts on the run, I had a lot of enjoyment. I mean, yeah, there were some difficult parts, mostly because all the weapons have low capacity and are very slow firing, meaning I couldn't really take on crowds of people all that much, and the game constantly crashing, VATS not working. But besides that, I had a lot of fun, mostly because I got to use shotguns, which I really didn't use all that much on my first playthrough Fallout New Vegas. Hope you enjoyed. This is the first time I've ever done a video like this. So if you have any tips or advice or any videos or anything to help me improve my recording, gameplay, or just the videos overall, I would like to hear them. I'm still new to this whole YouTube thing, so any advice really means a lot. Please like and subscribe because Smith West still's got some unfinished business to do, and that unfinished business is some DLCs.